here on Wellness Wednesday, I want to welcome to everyone and say thank you to Mr. Ray Torregano. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, man, I am doing awesome, Chris. Thank you for having me, man, on Wellness Wednesday. Excited to share, man. Always excited to share.
Absolutely. So let's do this. I want to kind of set the stage. So give everybody kind of your background. Like, how did you get started in the beauty industry? And then more pointedly, how did you find your niche in that? Because obviously there's, a million and one things people can do, from just getting a job and getting a booth and paying the rent to owning a salon to there's a million and one things, right? How did you find your niche as you were carving out that kind of space in what you do?
Yeah, so, man, out of high school, I was the quintessential art kid, right? So drawing on tablets, and I wanted the poster board for the group activity. So I grew up typical high school kid, man, play sports, and but I had an opportunity in high school to be around some really creative people and artistic people. I did not believe leaving out of high school that I would have anything to do with. If you'd have told the high school me that I was going to be and Georgia, so about an hour and a half away, looking for barbers, trying to figure things out for me. I have a brother that's 9 years younger than me, and just could not find anybody to cut my hair like I liked it. Back then in the 90s, that was a big deal. When I had hair, I am in the ball club as well today. But once upon a time, it was a big deal. And I just kind of took it upon myself. I have been really always watching that world, always in my mind, thinking I could do that. It's a lot of the same elements as drawing, fading, and messed up on my brother enough times that my mom trusted me to cut his hair and cut mine. And a chance meeting with a friend that had a barbershop in town and allowed me to be the sweep up guy. And that turned into me getting a chair. That eventually he kind of kicked me out in a good way to say, you got to get licensed. Steamrolled that into me understanding that the only place I can go and the only opportunity to go for a school was the cosmetology industry. And I reluctantly went into that because, again, I thought I was just cutting hair for the summer until I went off to college. But I realized that I understood it. I understood cutting and lines and color and design. And I ran from doing women's hair for a while. And then I was barbering. And then 2001, the towers fell. So if you can put it in perspective, I was working in a military community, Fort Benning, one of the biggest installations in town. So all of my barbering clients left overnight with the towers falling. Literally, it was an overnight
Wow.
situation. So their wives were behind, and it was kind of like, you know what? Let me just switch over to this hair thing. And then it kind of took off after that. I kind of left alone that feeling of this is for girls or this wasn't for me because, again, it was another art form. And I've always felt that way, that it's just no different than painting. It's called cosmetology arts, So I did that, worked for people for a while, but I was an artist. I was, grew up in Atlanta. I was listening to Outkast. I didn't fit anywhere. I was coming to work with fatigues on and funky haircuts and all this kind of stuff. And eventually I realized that I needed my own space. So in hindsight, I was extremely young, but it just was a matter of just finding my own place. And I worked with companies where I was teaching. I was supposed to go to college for education. So that kind of thinking about now as I tell these stories, because I've had a chance to tell it, I realized how everything was serendipitous and it was just a blessing. Because people kind of tapped me on the shoulder as a young gun. I was a bit of a phenom as far as training other hairdressers on how to do certain styles. Coloring and cutting was my thing. Again, I just felt like it was just a new medium, no different than a sketch pad. And that gave me enough money to save in my mid 20s. And I said, I want my own space. And had an opportunity, man. There was a small space around where I was working. And I just opened up, man. No backing. Didn't really, it
Wow.
was really about just finding my own lane. Grew that into something. And then fast forward, that was 2006. 2009 is where I began to kind of find my lane because I found YouTube. Somebody introduced me to YouTube in '09. So I'm a product of growing up on the internet and social media and content creating because 3 years into me owning a business, I almost kind of saw, okay, I can share even more of who I am
Mm-hmm.
online. 10 years of having that business, and I decided that the community that I was really meeting online and teaching from, I wanted to do that full time. So for the last 5 years, I closed my salon after 10 years. I just knew that that wasn't what I wanted to do forever. I had learned a lot. I started very young. and did a decade of salon ownership. And then myself and my wife, we decided to take what I was doing part-time with education into a full-time aspect. So we have a company now where we're a consulting and education company helping other businesses learn from what I did over those 20 years, really being in the beauty industry. So just took that cutting, coloring, and understanding. And in particular, and I think that's what we'll talk about today, I was a real early adopter to relaxer-free or chemical-free hairstyling, to where women could see an entirely different way to love on themselves and their hair with natural hair care. So I removed chemicals from my salon right about 2010. So I was kind of a leader, a trailblazer in that space of not using relaxers, taking curls and doing different things. So I was excited to share, man, to talk, because it's always been my advocacy to be well in ourselves, and it's going to show in our skin and our hair.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the things that I had thought about when it comes to this conversation today was, your brand and what you've been able to build. I mean, thousands of people between YouTube and Instagram and Facebook who are really following what you do. And I love what you have, better brands, better business, and better lives. When you start talking about the fact that you literally in 2010 decided, I'm doing a hair salon with no chemicals. I'm sorry, them two don't mix, right? It's kind of like I need the chemicals in order to do my job, right? But what I was curious about, talk to me about, like, when we start talking about wellness, because most people do think, oh, I know I gotta wash my hair. I know I gotta, put some oil on it, things of that nature. But kind of give like your understanding as somebody who's been in the industry for so long. Why do you have to take care of the hair in such a way? And then what are some of the things that, like, you've helped people understand, that individual who's watching this and just at home trying to figure out, like, all right, what are some things I should be doing at home, and how do I understand the way my hair works so that I know what I should be putting on it on a daily basis or on a regular basis?
Great question. I don't even know if I can take full credit for it, Chris. I really benefited from, I was one of those people that was on MySpace early, like Black Planet, that whole world.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Take me back. Yeah. But when I got on YouTube we weren't even using the word content creator, YouTuber. It was just YouTube. But I saw kind of evolve what we know is normal now. I saw the influencer happen, right? I was one of the only professionals that was on, and I was actually getting hate mail. It's not really something that's embraced in my industry to be a professional, seemingly giving the game away online. But I knew it was something new. I knew that it was going somewhere. Now, at a position where the influencer is really even more praised than a professional hairdresser. That's just facts. It's not even up for debate in 2020, especially with a year like this year, with salons closing, but influencer platforms exploding.
Wow.
Yeah, that has happened. So I saw that. I realized early, okay, so this person, let's say if it was Tamara, right? She's online as a customer wanting to know more about her hair because professionals aren't sharing. So they began to talk a lot more, and I was seeing hair like I had never seen before. Big, lush, long lengths, fullness. And it was just a matter of, no matter if I was trying to learn how to play basketball, what are they doing in the gym to create those looks? Like, what are they doing to have hair this full? We had in 2008, to me, I think was a very pivotal year for hairstyling and for natural hair, especially amongst Black women. 2008, Michelle Obama went into office. Everybody wanted to know what was going on. How did she have hair like that? 2008, the internet exploded. Google bought it, and it was everywhere. I mean, it's not the internet. YouTube was bought by Google. So it was more and more of this natural girl online sharing. And there was a movie that came out called Good Hair by Chris Rock. And it shook up the industry. All of that happened in 1 year. And clients literally came in the salon, I don't want the relaxer anymore. So it wasn't just me, they didn't want it.
Interesting.
I want whatever she's got in this video, I want that. So I'm looking, you're like, well, okay, she's relaxer free. My girlfriend then, my wife now, she was actually one of the people that was fairly reluctant to switch over. But even her hair eventually, because chemical relaxing was a staple. But what I saw was I learned in the relation that I trained my staff. I had a staff of 6 at the time. It's like, guys, we've got to approach hair no different than like a gardener, right? There is an element of sunlight that we've got to remove the option of people having to always rely on extensions and covering their hair and braiding. The hair's got to breathe. That's what I see as an ongoing kind of staple of these people with these amazing heads of hair. No different if you saw people with great skin. Because the skin is just an extension, the hair is just an extension of the skin. That's why you see people that are unhealthy, they have horrible skin. People that are unhealthy, they have horrible hair. And the reverse is true. People with lush skin, you know, babies, lush skin, lush heads of hair, their immune system and health is optimal. So also hydration. Like I realized, okay, we had to shampoo differently, incorporate things like steamers, had moisture in the hair. So I started to really encourage doing something as bold as removing sodas from the business. We only gave water.
Wow.
Yeah, we only gave certain snacks in the business. We only gave water. That didn't go over good at the beginning, but then eventually people saw the kind of science behind what I was doing. And we pretty much started an entire trend in our area, really even national. So YouTube kind of helped the salons kind of off the beaten path concept to be this global kind of idea. So people all around the country was like, well, yo, it was kind of rhythm hair was the thing, lush, full, bouncing all around. And it was really just getting back to the basics of plant and hair needs sunlight, it needs moisture, and it needs nutrition, right? So we needed that vitamins. So we started to sell vitamins in the salon or talk about hair, nail, and skin vitamins and talk about diet and really be able to kind of troubleshoot when we saw somebody come in and say, okay, one of these 3 is not present. I'm wearing wigs and extensions all the time. You got to let us stop you with that. Man, I'm using chemical relax. Okay, let's remove the chemical. Man, I'm not really doing a lot with diet and water. Okay, we got to stop that. And we could pretty much like a doctor kind of assess that. We still have fun. We were a very fun salon. I mean, the name of my salon was Rhythm. We played music all the time. So we wasn't in there with white lab coats on, but we were serious about but we were serious about the product because it was bespoke, right? So people saw it and they knew. So even now, 5 years removed from even being behind a chair, I still have my clients call me. And literally, even when I closed my salon, that was probably one of the hardest things because like a doctor's patient load, I had to place these women who the hair was a big deal in the hands of the right people that thought the same thing. Either my former staff or literally have conversations with people. Let's say if it were you, okay, Chris, I'm giving 20 girls over to you, 20 women, they are serious. If you don't do the right thing, bro, you're going to lose them. If you do, just sitting in the bank, for you. So so that was kind of, I don't even know if I take the full credit as much as I learned a lot from listening to people in my community online and my clientele. And I centered it around that.
So why do you think in today's world, wellness has become such a big focus? And I'm a guy, I've seen it be a big focus on the hair industry in at least the last several years. Why do you think it has taken, I guess, in some ways so long? You were doing it since 2010. Why do you think it took so long for people for it to hit a tipping point where it was like, this is now a standard? It's not an outlier. It's not those rogue people over there. It's now like a standard when you start talking hair, skin, nails. When you start, it was interesting. You even mentioned, what you're eating, your diet contributing to your hair. Why do you think that education took so long? And then my other second portion to that question is, what things from a diet perspective do you normally, like off the gate, recommend to women who are having dry, hair issues or, some of those kind of common things? Talk about a couple of those things and what should they be adding? Is it supplements? Is it, I just need to eat more fish? Is it like, what's kind of the mix of things that you would say is like steady for those diets?
Yeah. So firstly, and pardon me if there's any beauty professionals that are watching this or see this, because I've gotten into hot water all around the country. I've talked about this on, dozens of platforms, speaking on stages, and oftentimes so long because professionals were stubborn. Pro hairdressers did not embrace the internet when it first hit. To this day, there is still this contention between, do you have a license in the chair, and you don't have a license, you think you're a professional talking online. I just was somebody that embraced it early. And I don't know if you ever seen a movie. Of course, you've seen the movie Drumline, when the guy says, man, he can't read music. He said, man, I don't care if he can read a book. If he can play, he can play. Yeah. And there was an element of what I saw online is like, yo, they don't have to have a license. They know what they're talking about, and nobody knows better than the female and the woman themselves. Yeah. And it has been a long-standing kind of standoff. Like, I don't want to embrace. And unfortunately, we're still artists. We're creatives, designing, color, art. So if I give it over to diet, lifestyle, blood flow,
okay,
then I lose the limelight that it's me that's doing it.
Gotcha.
Right. Gotcha. And I never was in it for that. I never was in it. I never was in it for a shine like that. That came, notoriety came, but it was about, I wanted this product and this woman to be happy. Or even when I was cutting hair, because I was in the barbering game for about 4 years. So that's part of the problem. Is now what has happened now, there's been this kind of surgence, is because it has flipped. And more, some of even the more premium professional hairstylists, they're coming from the influencer world. They're coming from corporate. They're growing up on the internet now, which is why I share so much about it. And the reality is, more and more people that were doing hair in the 90s, I'm talking about professionals, 90s, early, they're fading out. So it's kind of like this new crop that's coming in, like the, point forward in basketball is kind of like, oh, we hit and deny it. The customer is not coming in ignorant anymore. There's no magazines in shops anymore. There's no, just because I live in Columbus, I don't know what's going on in LA. Everybody can see everything.
Wow, that's a good point.
So if you can't create this look, if you can't make me look like this in fitness, you should be able to make this table for me, make this dish for me. Everybody that wants something, whatever it is, they can just pull up their phone. And if you can't do it, they'll go to the next person. So people have got to adjust. As far as diet, man, again, we're so connected to the earth. My only regret is my weight loss now, my consciousness of full health now. I wish I had it then, Chris. I didn't. I knew it, but I wasn't practicing it personally enough. And now I know what happens when I eat vegetables. I know what happens when I put a gallon of water in my body. I know what happens when I put a premium multivitamin, a premium EPA. Why is that so important? Deep fish, fish oil. I know what happens when I have a probiotic, and the digestion and the vitamins can flow through all the follicles to have amazing hair. It's those kind of conversations that seem weird to talk to people about hair, but it don't take long. We're at the end of the day, we go to the exact same board as nurses go to. We're one of the only professions that can touch people. So in many, many instances, we're very, very lateral with nurses and physicians. We deal with the body, chemistry. We deal with prenatal, after you have a baby, hair is from blood circulation. So we've got to talk to people about massage therapy. And if you have diabetes, most people have thin hair, blood flow. If you have challenges with blood, not diabetes, low blood pressure, right?
Okay.
So all of that's come. So we got to have those. It's not just going in there, I want finger waves.
Right.
Nah.
well, that's interesting that you bring that up, because I would imagine, right, for a chick that does come in and shows you her phone and says, make me look like this, as the stylist, if they're using that mode of thinking, and they're like, we might have to have a tough conversation, because to pull that off, we got to talk about some other things to get there. Is that something that you've noticed, that you had just been willing to step out there and say, look, I'm gonna step off this ledge. She might be mad at me, but we got to talk about it? Is that kind of what you've noticed?
Listen, I've seen you recently share about your trainer. and how he had to have those tough conversations when you came in the
Mm-hmm.
gym. And I mean, I've had trainers, and I'm in that same space, you know, working it out 4 or 5 times a week, to the point where now I know the difference between somebody that's just kind of flexing because they got muscles because they blew
Right.
their knee out in college and now you're a trainer, versus somebody that's really serious about nutrition,
Yeah.
understands diet, understands kinesiology. So the difference is when they come in and say, I want to look like this Rihanna haircut, I'm like, okay, well, are you willing to do what we need to do? We may need to take 3 months of this supplement. We need to take
Mm.
switch. You cannot get hair color. You have to try. Oh, I want it now. Okay, so you try to lose 50 pounds overnight. I don't know how to do that. But we can get, yeah, or we can get a variation of that. Let's try it a different way. So, you know, we were very, we had a very simple menu, but as far as like customizing, especially color creation, because we did have color in our business. So I want to be sure, I want to be clear. We removed the chemical relaxer, but were able to create, I was a colorist. So
Right.
you know, that was kind of my thing. And I was able to, but I never wanted to sacrifice hair health for a hairstyle, right?
Interesting.
So that was important. Anybody, that's rare. Most people are trying to do everything extreme, versus I want you to be able to have long-term customers.
Gotcha.
When I closed my salon, it was tears. People I had done for 12 years, you know, it was tough because they didn't have to ask any questions because they knew I would think about their hair as if it was my wife, as if it was my daughter, as if it was my
Right.
mom. So, yeah, so we had to talk about that. My consultation was in every client. It was a very simple consult, but I just sat down and I asked, you know, what do you love? What do you have challenges with? And are you open for suggestions from us? And
Interesting.
yeah, so we would talk about our assessment, how we are committed to products. And again, we would share, one of the main things we would talk about is, this is your kind of at-home regimen.
Mm.
Diet, water, removing sodas, removing a bunch of, you know, tobacco and things like that, removing fried foods. It's just clogging up. Again, I know this really a lot now, but it was something that I wish I could have even practiced a lot more personally, because I had to get my health back seemingly from helping everybody else be
Yeah.
amazing
Wow.
in my business.
So when you think about the future, as we wrap up here, give me kind of like, 10, 20 years down the road when
Mm.
it comes to the how you see the beauty industry and the hair care industry. What paint that picture? Where do you see it going? Because to be honest with you, you know, for eons, you just go in and get your hair cut or just go in and get your hair done. Now you've been talking about this evolution over the last, 10, 20 years with the internet, and now it's more of, the expertise, that experience that you can give people online, because as I say, they're having a thumb flicking day. So they they find whatever their niche is and they like it. And a lot of women are online YouTubing hair care stuff. You do this thing in November called Blowvember. I thought it was just a dope concept that you do. But give me that future. Like 20 years down the road, where do you see this hair care industry kind of going?
Whew. Again, bear with me, any beauty professionals, because this gonna shake somebody's head back. I'm gonna tell you, this year, and this is probably one of the first times. This is exclusive. You're getting
Yeah,
this
okay, I'm
exclusive.
with the exclusives now. I'll
It's
get the
one of the
blow
first
on
times
after
I've
this
really
one.
talked about it. This year will forever change a lot of industries, but definitely the beauty game. We saw a couple things happen in 2010. We saw the relaxer remove. We saw the internet explode, and people were literally coming in, which is where I was able to build. Again, I was building it just as a marketing mechanism for my salon business, but that also I was able to go independent in education. I didn't have to work with a company anymore. I can remove the middle guy, and I can say, "Yo, I got ideas that's just Ray. It's not Ray because I work for Paul Mitchell or this other
Right.
company. It's I got ideas." But another thing that happened is something called salon suites that I didn't embrace at the beginning. I'll be very honest. I still am a big believer of team. I kind of brought my sports background into the beauty industry, so I'm all about team building. My team to this day, they still have, you know, if you get around them long enough, they'll start saying stuff that we said in the salon, and all of them are salon owners and moved on. So we were a gang, you know what I mean? The city knew who we were. But this idea of this individualized 200 square feet was creeping at the idea of a team concept salon. That's 2010. By 2015, it was a real thing. They're all over Charlotte. They're all over Atlanta. They're all over the industry, and more big salons. I was just one of the first people to do it. I saw it coming, and in 15, 16, I was like, you know what? The game is changing. I'm going to go a different direction. And I started telling people, let's say if it were you, I'm calling you up. You're not a salon owner, but let's say you were. Yo, Chris, man, game changing. 5 years out, we won't see salon teams like we saw them before.
Wow. Huh.
2020, it really doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it really doesn't exist. One person leading a team of people. And a new thing has happened with people that are mobile. They're coming to you.
Yes. Right. I am the husband that has made that phone call. Let me tell you, I have called from Atlanta and said, hey, I called you on a referral, right? Because I'm like, my wife we need something, who you know, I'll pay whatever, right? And I think it's a good point, because I will tell you, even in my, you know, simple understanding of the beauty industry, everything that my wife has needed from a beauty standpoint, we literally have had an individualized experience. In fact, my wife flies to LA to get her hair done. Like, we'll literally hop on a plane because she has this one person in LA that knows what the heck to do with her hair. They don't have to talk about it. They done been through it all. They know, and she does not mind spinning that grip to go out there because she knows she'll be happy with it. So you're absolutely right. And as a husband, I'm like, all right, boo, that's what you need. Cool. I just want you happy so that you're not complaining about your hairstyle, because I've seen a lot of times women go spend 6 hours in a salon just to come home and they hate it.
Right. So, and even that individual she goes to in LA, more than likely, they're an independent contractor inside of a business, or they have a salon suite space. It's so common that's going to be, if there is the Tamara Williams, if there is my wife, who is another one who enjoys, she's one of the main people that hate the fact that I don't have a salon anymore, because she was a salon girl, right? She's a salon woman.
Yeah.
But she wants an experience, but more and more people, I mean, here's something. If you're 25 years old, 10 years ago, you were 15, 2010. 15 years ago in 2005, you were 10. So this is going to be the first crop of women that don't even know what a relaxer looks like. And if you don't know what a relaxer looks like, then there's less reasoning to have to go to a salon, because simultaneously, you don't know what that means. And you've always had access to YouTube to literally pull up ponytail, style, length, bang. And 20 years from now, you will not see salons like that. You won't see restaurants like that. Like this year killed sitting down in a restaurant. People are almost used to Uber Eats now. It's a lot of industries. There won't be education conferences like Bronner Brothers. Their days are numbered. It's just a matter of time. We won't need that. My education platform is an example of that. You don't have to fly, travel. People want convenience at every turn. Banking, absolutely. Shopping, online shopping club, and they want it in a salon. Yeah, there'll still be people that want it, but they will settle for mobile, traveling, and I'm gonna go real MKHD techie. We're gonna be the industry that really embraces VR in a minute too, where I can be showing you in a hologram. That's gonna happen. Yeah, it's going. People don't have time to go spend 8 hours no more.
Right.
If I can do it, you can ship me the products in something like a subscription box, just like there's subscription home shopping. There's one of the first people to do online shopping boxes was the Beauty Game. Stuff called Curl Box, where every month you get products.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, they were the first to do it.
Wow.
Yeah. So you pay that every month. Here are the tools: video on the projector, on the computer, on the wall, or a straight up VR with you holding Zoom like this. We were doing Zoom appointments. Hey, okay, mold it this way. People don't have time. So it's going to really evolve.
Interesting. Wow.
It's moving. And people are going to be more and more. Now, people are growing up with health, growing up with supplements. They know that's important. Fit like we've never been before. We see more and more celebrities, you know what I mean, and people that we admire with great heads of hair. Women are not even going to go here. They're not going to give over their health of themselves or their hair to a professional. I know better. I'm going to do it myself, which means we're going to have to adjust. And that's where my company comes in, is kind of preparing the game. Like, yo, man, you got to think differently. You got to service differently. You got to be unique in how you do it. Blowvember is an idea to make them focus to build business over a 30-day span, because typically if you can't make it through Thanksgiving, the holidays, and New Year, at least 30% of the industry won't even make it to tax season because it's tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Yo, listen. Okay, this man just dropped the jewel. So I want everybody to come back to this video and say, he said that 20 years ago. That's a very interesting concept. That's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, man, it's coming. You got cordless clippers now, so barbershops don't need plugs. It's so free. It's such a free space, and we've never seen this. It has been a way forever. And if you're mobile, here's another thing that's just deep, brother. If you're mobile, if you're traveling, how do you regulate that as a cosmetology board?
Ooh.
So more and more, they're trying to deregulate it. And if that ever happens and they take away the need to have a license, which I'll be honest, there are parts of this industry, I don't think it needs a license. I think it needs an apprentice. But if they remove the need to have a license, and cosmetology schools are closing at an alarming rate.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Then once that opens up, then this is a free for all then.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. Which is why certain industry, like the music industry, they didn't want you to know it was no gatekeepers. They didn't want you to know that you can drop a book or make a film on your own, or they don't want the NFL to be individualized players. We got to keep hold. It's over, bro.
That's interesting. I mean, you take even the movie industry, where you now have full-length movies being shot on a phone. There was a gentleman that shot a horror movie. I forget the name of it right now, but he shot an entire horror movie that people actually liked. He used all iPhones. He used phones, not $30,000 rigs and phones. Like,
I'm giving you permission to have me back to talk about that world. If you thought you heard something with the beauty industry, that is the world that I've been in for the last 10 years. I today don't even identify myself as a hairstylist. I'm a video content creator now. So what I do now, that's what I am. People still see me as a hairdresser because I was so successful in that, but that's not what I am today. I have a whole content creating studio, 365 days a year. I'm a filmmaker, pretty much is what I do. But so you want to know where this is going? Oh, brother. It's another level.
Well, I will tell you this, man. Thank you for hopping on Wellness Wednesdays. Give everybody where they can find you at on social media. I will tell you guys, from an IG perspective, follow his stories, because, man, ladies, you looking for tips, you looking for quick understandings, you beauty professionals, you need somebody that you can kind of tap into and kind of see what they're doing. This guy's got it. Go ahead and give him that information.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you, Chris, man. I'm excited to see where you're taking this, man, because this is all sharing and helping people, man. And that's another thing that I'm a big proponent of, better lives, man, just helping people. So, man, so kudos to you. Guys, I'm pretty excited about it. I have a new link tree because I'm a lot of different places on the internet, but I have it in one little bundle now. It's in my bio link on Facebook, which is Raymond Torregano III. Easy way to remember my last name. Oregano with 2 R's and a T. I'll pop right up. And I'm on Instagram the same way, Raymond.Torregano. And in that link tree, you'll see my podcast, my YouTube channel, access if there's any coaching that I can help with you. And our premier product, the product that we've created, is our online academy. This is our 4th year. We'll be 5 years in. We call it a hair show in your hand, or the Netflix for hairstylists. So it's instant access to learn anything you can learn, from tech, to this interview right here, quite frankly, he'll burn this down. We'll drop it on there because it's just a wealth of information for hairdressers. Right now, they're all binge watching this week and preparing and can literally play the video in their business and duplicate it and make money. That's our new tagline is watch, recreate, make money.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, thank you all for watching today's episode of Wellness Wednesdays. You guys know where to find us. This is The World According to Chris. You can come here every single Wednesday, and we will be sharing with you Wellness Wednesdays. We're going to have lots of different things, lots of different items, different types of guests. Here you got a chance to hear from Ray Torregano. So thank you all so much. Please use the hashtag TWAC when you're commenting, when you're tweeting, when you're texting, when you're doing whatever, and let people know that there's a spot right here where we can talk all things wellness. Thank you so much. You all have a great, incredible day.
Take care, guys.